A happy summer, everyone, that we're officially here, and things have continued to move very quickly on the school and the building itself. I would say that we've made the most progress, I think, in the last month that I've seen throughout the entire construction, and things are moving really, really well. I'll just go through, and then I do have some pictures. The closer we get to September, I think the more at ease you'll get with the pictures. I was able to go through the building yesterday and today, and there's even more progress from what you're going to see in the pictures. But again, overall, very positive today. So in 2 weeks, in the second week in July, we will have all of the Univents on site. So we have 2/3 really of the Univents needed. And we were worried about those because we thought that the last shipment was going to come in August. We had tentatively discussed June 1st, July 1st, August 1st as sort of 3 deadlines for the Univents, but things have arrived earlier. So we have 2/3, a little bit over 40 of the Univents are on site and have been installed in the classrooms. So we have one more shipment to get to the 52 that will come in 2 weeks in July. We have no reason to think that they will be delayed because we've actually received the other ones earlier, which is great. Now, the second part of that that's critical that we talked about was the energy recovery unit. Remember, the energy recovery unit is the part in the classroom that conducts the fresh air. And we certainly have to have a certain requirement of fresh air circulation. Now, I want to remind you that Bob Rush, the building inspector, actually came and approved the weight room yesterday. So the weight room has been cleared. We had a chance to talk to him as well. And again, there is no reason, and there's no indication from anyone that the district will be held up from opening on September because of fresh air, because we can open the windows. But really the critical date, as I've mentioned, has been that October 15th deadline. So right now we are on pace to have all of the energy recovery units, which conducts the amount of fresh air, which is critical in general for the room, but now especially because of COVID, we have them scheduled to be here by September 1st and installed. But the sort of wiggle room that we have is that that really doesn't even have to happen until October 15th. So the 2 key parts that there's really 3. First were the boilers, which have been delivered and installed. That was a while ago. Second were the Univents, which are connected to the heating and the cooling. And 2/3 of those are on site. And the last remaining group of Univents we anticipate to be delivered by the second week in July. All of the Univents that we have had delivered are already installed in the district. And we have our energy recovery units that are supposed to start coming in 2 weeks as well, and all of them to be here by September. So that certainly is great news. Before I get into the summary of other items that we're working on, the other issue I want to bring up is we talked about testing, about having air testing. And so we do have our air testing company coming in next week to start clearing areas of the building. The reason that we waited on that is because we wanted to have the Univent in connected to the piping. We didn't want to test, have workers come in, install items, kick up dust, kick up contaminants, and then have to retest again. So what we did was we decided to start our testing when the installation of the Univents in those rooms was complete. And what that allowed us to do is have a more accurate reading so that we didn't have to worry about retesting moving forward. So that is scheduled to start very soon. We'll be testing the rooms and clearing them one at a time, which is fantastic because, of course, we want to make sure that we have mold and things like that, anything that could potentially linger in the summer, that is out. So Carl Environmental is the company that we use for mold remediation. They are coming in and moving forward. So a very strong start there. Now let me get to some of the summary items. Then I'll get to the pictures and, of course, your questions. So activities performed in the last week. We continued the floor prep in the new floor in the classrooms and in the hallway. We were about 95% complete. And you'll see in some of the pictures that indeed the hallways are starting to look as you remember them. We continued installing new tile in the classrooms. The electricians continue working on site, performing time and material work. The floor prep in the hallways, the floor tile, plumbing contractor, of course, continued working with the connections to the boiler in the main room. And we continued to move forward with the media center and auditorium. That scope of work has started as well. For this week, more floor prep, tile work. There's a lot of tile work as well. Wiring for the air units. There's going to be a part very soon in the next couple of weeks that we're going to actually turn off electricity to the entire district. We're trying to schedule that for a weekend. The reason that we're doing that is because we actually have to clean, if you remember, the central area, our electrical panels, which are sort of located by the dumpsters on the side of the building. We had Mr. Wanderling come in and graciously donate his time to clear all of the sockets throughout the district earlier in this process. But now that we're moving forward, what we have to do is we have to check the inner workings of the actual box that holds all of our electrical power. That has to be done in coordination with Orange and Rockland. Therefore, the energy has to be turned off to the building. So we think we can do that on a weekend. But if it has to lag for a day or two, I don't think it's a major deal. It's something that we can work around. But that's the last sort of electrical step. And what that does is allows us to ensure that everything, including the center of the building, is set to go electrical wise. We'll have to back everything up, of course, and go from there. Let me show you some pictures because I am extremely excited to do so. Thumb up if you can see it. Can you see the pictures? I think you can. Yeah, Dawn, can you see the pictures? Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, so this is the front of the building. This is the main lobby. I know you don't see the flooring in the main lobby, but it was painted, which was critical. So we have the front of the main lobby painted, which is ready to go. Up there in the vestibule, that's over the top as well, that is also painted. Mr. Von Glahn, who I think is on the call, I will be very excited to see. This is his choir room. We have started building the steps back, the area to the choir room, which is fantastic. So we're thrilled about that. And ready for carpeting. This is the B wing hallway. The picture that you see here, so this is the B wing, the middle school wing, the Tentacles on the right. What you'll see as well is that that is actually tiled. It's starting to be tiled now. So it's actually made more progress since this picture. But it's ready to move forward with the tiling. Please also note the color on the top, which was something that we added just to give a little more school spirit, especially in the light. The automated logic is our control wiring in each of the rooms. That has started to be connected. So your control wiring that goes into each of the actual rooms that controls the heating and cooling, while we can't turn it on yet, we have the wiring that is starting to be complete, which is tremendous. And you can see how they're connecting it by the door. This is one of our labs. This is more control wiring by the labs. If you can see where the gentleman is, that's one of the horizontal Univents that we talked about. You know, some of the rooms, we had the ones that earlier came in. So that's one of the horizontal ones behind them you can see there. This is what we're talking about. This is the new flooring. This I showed you last time in the cafeteria. It is the same flooring that we're using throughout the entire building. So it's actually a little more school spirit, a little more stuff that we can use to sort of brighten up the room with the school colors, of course, which is fantastic. That is going down. What you're seeing there is sort of the end of the D wing through the courtyard. That has been installed in D and B. This is outside of the media center. So again, they're making significant progress. I mean, how I visualize this is that if you didn't see the worker there and you didn't see those items, this hallway looks almost ready to go. Lockers installed, the yellow trim on the top, the metal has been placed on the bottom, and the flooring has been in. So we really are making significant progress. If you just remove the construction items, this looks like a hallway that's ready to welcome students. This is the end of the B wing. So this is our middle school 6th grade wing. The flooring is down, the hallway looks clear, the lockers are in. Everything looks like it's ready to welcome students in September, which is great. So this is our current B wing, and they are working in the classrooms now. But the first step is the hallway, and the hallway is ready to go. This is our world language wing, again, almost completed, hallway and the rooms as well. What we're excited about here is we've been able to actually get some of the Univents in. The rooms on the left-hand side would be the rooms that are abut the media center. So those were ones that don't have windows. So we were able to sort of move those pretty quickly and prioritize those as well. Okay, and the other thing that I'll bring up, and then I'll take questions, of course, is the millwork is scheduled to start next week. So the millwork is sort of your framing, your furniture, your other items that can come in and really start making things look like a school, like a classroom. So overall, everything is moving forward. We've made great progress. No negatives today. Sarah, I'll have Dawn. Sarah Bars has a question about the FEMA reimbursement and the budget. We can get into that in a minute. Yes, Sarah, we've had some positive steps with the FEMA reimbursement, which, as you know, has been quite a battle. But overall, the building is looking great. I am ready to announce that we are going to have it. We have an agreement with St. Therese as well. So when everyone asks for the backup plan, in case things are not ready to go, the backup plan will be St. Therese. I have no reason to believe in any way, shape, or form that the building itself will not at least majority-wise be ready. So I do not anticipate at all right now that this building will not be available in any part of it in September. And again, we are well on schedule to have the full building ready. But if there is need to have a grade or two or something like that moved, we can use St. Therese. We have been able to get to a finalized agreement that we're going to be able to move forward. So I did meet with Pastor Dave over at Choday, and I thanked him, and we did a video to the entire Choday community and Mosaic, thanking them for their incredible generosity. But we are happy to say that at this point, I don't think we're going back to Choday at all. And so if there is a section of the building that for some reason doesn't go well, we can always move some students within Cresskill and move them to St. Therese to keep them in Cresskill, which is critical, because if you eliminate transportation, you eliminate the shortened school day. So I'm very confident that we can have a full 7:35 to 3:20 day. But again, at this point, right now, if I had to guess, St. Therese will only be used for after school activities. But if something were to happen, we'll see. I have a couple questions here from Adam and Nancy. I'll go to you first, Dawn. Question on the FEMA reimbursement and the budget status for the project.
FEMA reimbursement is an ongoing process. To date, we've still only gotten the 300,000. I'm waiting for 400,000. That should be coming any day. The 400,000 would be for the architect and engineering costs we've spent to date. The large final project is still being what they call costed out at FEMA. So we have not gotten a final approval of that yet, but it's an ongoing, I anticipate this is going to be a many years project working with them. In terms of budget, of the approved $21 million referendum, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of about 11 million right now, with majority of the major work completed. We still have the auditorium, the media center, which are separate projects, as well as the mitigation work.
Okay, a couple of questions, Mr. Rubenstein. I love your questions. I have to tell you that. What keeps you up at night, and what's the worst case scenario? At this point, Mr. Rubenstein, I feel really great about the building itself. I guess, you know, I want to get the energy recovery units in to get the fresh air circulation. You know, those are supposed to come in the middle of July. Everything else has been ahead of schedule. So, of course, the looming October 15th date, I guess, would be my next focus. But I think that that's a positive, because I'm no longer being kept up at night because of September 1st. The building is going to be open in September 1st, and a substantial part of the building, if not the entire building. So my next sort of, you know, sigh of relief will come when those energy recovery units come in a couple weeks, because then they'll start getting installed, and then those rooms will be able to circulate fresh air, which really is the key in order for us to move forward and finalize it. But again, everything looks great, and I have no reason to think that they're not coming, but that's my next deadline. It used to be, you know, is the flooring going to get in? Are the Univents going to be here? Univents are 2/3 here, and they'll all be here in a couple of weeks. So I'm confident with that. Now we move to the energy recovery units, because that's the circulation of air. But overall, I am ecstatic about the progress of the building. Very, very happy. Nancy, with the question about the preventative work, which ties into another question as well. We had another presentation from Muscle Wall. Muscle Wall are these very large sort of connected plastic units that are used to block water all over the place in different areas of the country. We also had a presentation from Tiger Dam. I talked about this with the board on Monday night, both of which can be on site within basically 7 to 10 days. So we've gone back and forth with both, and we're still discussing it, but we will have something very, very shortly here in front of the building as a temporary fix as we move forward, building a wall, a brick or permanent wall around most of the building. But there's pros and cons to both. The Tiger Dam takes a long time. We had OEM coordinator Ulshifer here. We also had representatives from the town as well as FEMA came here to watch Tiger Dam, and it's really compact that it gets to fold up, but by the time you roll it out and fill it up with water, it does take a good amount of time. But at the same time, that is something that's easily stored, whereas Muscle Wall, which is also fantastic, these big barriers, as if you can think of a parade that you would see where you see big barriers that sort of connect, those work as well. But the issue with that is, of course, storage. So with the board and I are going back and forth with Dawn, and we'll have an answer very, very shortly and have something on site. But we have two really strong options that we like either way, but so far so good. Let's see, other questions. Yes, we're still working on the schedule to separate middle and high school. There's been some changes, but of course, we're finalizing that. I think it's a great opportunity. Either way, to be honest, to sort of look at new options for our schedule for our staff. So we've had some administrators that have gone away on vacation. I'll be on vacation in July for a short period of time. So we're going back and forth finalizing the schedule. But even if the building is ready, even if the building is completely ready, which I anticipate right now it will be, I still want to have that separate middle high school schedule just to give us some flexibility here as we move forward and explore options for our students. So that's going very, very well also. Other questions? I anticipate my next update to be the middle of July. I will put that date out. Of course, we have July 4th next week. Our next board meeting is not until July 27th, but I will definitely have a video update prior to that. So I'm looking maybe 2, at the most 3 weeks to give you an update. Let's see. Any other questions on the building, the construction? Follow-up question, Dawn, from Sarah about the expenses. So far 11 million, give or take, is on budget, correct? Yes.
We're on budget, correct?
Yep. We made a decision the other night at the board meeting just to make public because it was discussed then, but there wasn't a lot of people there. So there are details that occur in our process. One of which is as the flooring is going into the B wing, one of the things that was brought up from the flooring company and the insurance company was they wanted to address the potential of sideways rain. So because the windows in the B wing, as I showed you before, are there, they want to really check all the details. So we went outside with hoses and we sprayed down the B wing to simulate water coming in from the side. And there were some small puddles. When I say small, I'm saying like this. I mean, there wasn't really a lot. But of course, the floor company wants to make sure that we don't have a tremendous sideways rain that comes in that hurts the floor. So we moved forward with having one of the change orders is to have one of the subcontractors re-caulk the windows along the B wing. And of course, they will re-caulk, test again, re-caulk, just to make sure that the building is completely protected, not just from rain that comes from the Tennekill, not just from water that could come down from the other side of the building, but also things, of course, about sideways rain, which again, may not seem like a huge issue to all of us, but when we spend all this money to redo the building and have a brand new building, we don't want to see small puddles from time to time come in areas of the B wing from sideways rain. And let's see, any concerns about the doors? No, there are no concerns about the doors. I talked to Bob Rush, our building inspector, and that was one of the first things I brought up 2 months ago to him. I said, I keep hearing that there's a lag time in door construction because of COVID delays, et cetera. He said that is not a problem. He said that to us, and he'll be coming back to the building in a couple of weeks. Also, he said you can just sand the doors down as long as they can close. There's no concern with himself or the fire department. So that was a big weight off our shoulders because I had mentioned that, our architect, Cara Rubino, had said that there's a huge shortage on doors, but I received confirmation from the building inspector and the fire chief that that is something we can just sand down and close, that if there's a delay, that will not delay us opening the building. And that is it. So I will keep you updated as things change. Written communications, of course, will occur throughout the summer, as well as the videos as well. But like I said, you will continue to see a lot of work going on around the building. The millwork is the next that's coming. That's the framing, that's the doors, that's the cabinets, that's structural things. The Univents are scheduled to finish up in July, and then we get those energy recovery units. So still moving forward. We're doing okay. Thanks, everyone.